Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And my very special guest today is Miss Princess Ousley. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So from Orlando,
Yes.
fourth generation Rattler.
That's right.
Wow.
That's
Now
right.
I got to pause right there because everybody can't say that.
That's right.
You know, you have some students now, there's first generation college students, so fourth generation Rattler. So tell me what that must have been like.
I didn't know there was an option to not attend FAMU growing up.
Okay.
It was just the natural, you graduate high school and then you go to college, and college was FAMU.
Wow.
And so I was really blessed and fortunate to come from such a strong history.
Mm-hmm.
We joke we had people actually born in FAMU's hospital.
Nice.
That's how far back our relationship and our love for FAMU goes.
Wow.
And to this day, my family members, my uncles did a yearly college tour. And so every year he would bring a group of high school students up and he would tour different HBCUs, but his focus would be FAMU. And that experience led a lot of students to come to FAMU.
Wow.
But for me and our family, we didn't go to other universities.
Okay.
We only went to FAMU because that was the option. And I remember just as cousins, you know, you always have somebody who tries to go against the grain. And our what's the saying? You can go anywhere you want to, but my money will only go to FAMU.
Yes.
Like that was the talking point that they received. And so
Okay.
that was a lesson for me. Like, oh, okay.
Right. And I need that money.
I need the money, right? And I was told like, oh, well, if you go to FAM, you know, you have housing, you have, all these
Yes.
different incentives, right? Because our family was so committed and was in love with the university.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful for the experience and being able to follow into their footsteps and
Right.
experiencing myself. We're probably some of the greatest advocates and cheerleaders for the university.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Now, what was your major?
I actually majored in elementary education
Okay.
and psychology.
Wow.
Because when I originally started, I thought I was going to be a school teacher. And I come from a line of educators and thought that was my career journey. I knew I was going to do something in entrepreneurship, but it was going to be on the side.
Yes.
And, I started elementary education and psychology and got my first job and realized I think I want to go into business. So I went back for my graduate degree in business.
Nice, nice. Now, Elite Business Strategies.
Yes.
Tell me about how that all got started and kind of where you are today.
Absolutely. So I started my career as a state employee
Okay.
in state government. I actually had the opportunity to deploy after Hurricane Katrina to Mississippi. And I was only 1 week on the job before they deployed me.
Wow.
And I fell in love with the field of emergency management almost immediately. I realized then that when communities are faced with devastation and disaster, having people on the other side of the table who had the empathy, who understood not only what they were going through, but how recovery looked differently for them.
Yeah.
So many communities of color, so many elderly, low income, non-English speaking individuals experience disasters differently. And I remember a time sitting around the table, and there was a heavy Asian community in Mississippi. And we could not get them to come to the disaster recovery center. We were going out, handing out flyers, we were getting it translated, and we just could not get them to come in to receive services. And so finally, and then there was a large African American community. And we went in and we were talking, and one of the aunties, I'll call her,
Okay.
pulled me to the side because I had on I was only a week on the job.
Right.
So I was excited to have my state jacket and my, my shirt and everything. And she pulled me to the side and she said, tell me what you're trying to accomplish. And I was like, well, we have all of these services. I'm excited.
Right.
I'm telling her what we
Right.
can do and the services we can offer. And she said, sis, what I would recommend, you come back tomorrow in regular clothes.
Yes.
And you come back and you talk to our community about how you can support them and what's going to be required from them. She said, because we have too much going on, we have too many promises being made, and we're trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
And we need that to be clear. But if you come back tomorrow and you have this conversation in the community, I'll make sure that you have the people here to listen to you.
Nice.
I went back to my to our what we call all hands meeting in our brief out for the day, and I shared what I was told was we needed to come back, take off all of our government official badging, and we need to go back as individuals, as humans,
Right.
just coming in to help and letting them know how we could support them. Well, for the community that I was able to go back to that looked like me, I was actually able to get them to come in.
Nice.
For the Asian community, we pulled in another representative who could speak their language, and essentially they said that they weren't interested. But what they could use were sleeping bags,
Okay.
tents, grills, charcoal, because they had decided to camp out in front of their homes and they were going to tough it out, and they as a community were going to recover together.
Okay. And that's their decision?
And that was their decision, because our job in that field is to make sure you have all of the information to make an informed decision.
Right.
And so we were able to provide, reached out to volunteer agencies and were able to provide. I say all that to say that experience changed my life.
Wow.
And it was in that moment, in that disaster, when I was on my way home, I realized this was the industry I wanted to work in.
Okay.
And so I, at the time, was with Elder Affairs. I, within a year, was able to find a position at Emergency Management.
Okay.
I started out in communications, and I say I grew up in the agency. I was able to work my way through to different departments. And so I started out in the executive office. Then I moved to a program office, which was mitigation. And then from mitigation, I moved to preparedness. And from there, I moved over to the Department of Education, still working in emergency management and safety and security.
Nice.
And I just took everything that I learned and created Elite Business Strategies. And it was my thought that government can only do so much. They need a strategic partner. And I wanted to be able to offer a strategic partnership with the government agency where they stopped us to be able to pick up and to be able to provide that service to the communities that historically lose after disasters. I wanted to be a bridge to maybe be a solution during those efforts. And so that's how Elite was started.
Wow.
Yeah.
A great bridge that is. And so tell me, like, I know you started out with you, but initially, how many staff members did you have working with you?
Oh, so I initially started with a partner.
Okay.
It was the two of us.
Okay.
And we had no staff. We were the staff.
Gotcha.
And we had to build the business from the ground up.
Wow.
We were able to go out and leverage relationships that we had from working in state government. We were able to leverage the skill sets that we had obtained and was able to win some contracts, small contracts that slowly we were able to build upon. And we started out primarily in planning.
Wow.
We would just write plans,
Okay.
and it grew from there. And thankfully, as we were out in the field and networking and going to different events, one of the things that I saw pretty quickly after Hurricane Sandy, actually, we were a part of the winning team that did the housing recovery project in Hurricane Sandy, after
Okay.
Hurricane Sandy in New York. And one of the things that kept coming back was a need for generators. And they didn't have any small businesses or minority businesses, and really, in some cases, big businesses to be able to offer generators to the people, because in New York, so much, because they have high rises, it requires multiple generators
Gotcha.
to power a building. And that storm took out their whole power grid in some areas. And so I remember turning to my partner at the time, and I was like, we need to sell a product. We need to sell a product, and I think we should start with generators, because
Right.
so many people had asked us. And we started reaching out, making phone calls, and ended up connecting with one of the leading maintenance, repair, and operation companies in the country.
Okay.
And it was a timing thing. They said, you know what, actually, we're looking for a strategic partner.
Wow.
And would love to have further conversations. And it snowballed from there. They ended up connecting us with the company in Arkansas. Again, only two, we didn't have staff
Right.
now.
It was
So
the two of
it's
you.
two of us doing all of this. They connected us with the team in Arkansas who had an infrastructure and the system set up. We get there, they offered us the opportunity to expand from
Okay.
beyond maintenance repair to other service offerings.
Right.
And so we went back. I just think about it, and sometimes you're like, how did we make that work? How did we do it? And it doesn't make sense when you
You
can't.
just did it.
You just did it. It was like it has to get done, and you have a divine intervention, and thankfully now 13 years later, we're still standing.
Awesome. Now, how many employees do you have now?
So our core is right under 30.
Okay.
And then through contracts, we've had up to over 415
Wow.
at our max.
That is amazing. Amazing. Now, what's your experience been like as a Black woman, CEO, leader in this space?
Whew. So how much time do we have? I laugh because I always used to say I would be like, where's Waldo? When I would walk into meetings. There was very little representation in not only just the emergency management field, but also in the products and equipment industries, where you would see female leadership, and where you would see female ownership, and particularly my African American own and run. I would say that it has been a benefit to me in some areas because I was different. I had a different perspective, and I had partners and colleagues that respected my approach and my outlook because it was so different from them. I led with service. I led with, there's women and men are set up differently.
We are.
Right? And I call it superpowers. We all have our own superpower, right? Mine was, I can be very, I used to have a boss that would say, Princess, just the facts.
Okay.
Just the facts. So when you come, I know you want to give me all the information and you want to lay it out. I just want the facts. So cut it short. And that actually was good training for me.
Okay.
Because it helped me kind of get into the psyche of certain leaders who only need a snippet of information and they're able to make informed decisions based off of that information.
Okay.
I'm the leader that I can operate up high. I can see the vision, but I also can see the details, right? And how what you implement up top, how it has a ripple effect, right?
And that's a unique skill set because a lot of people are either one or the other, not both.
But it came from, I was trained. I was trained to, because I was so into the details and on the implementation side when I started in government, I was trained to be very specific and look at it from top down.
Gotcha.
And not just from bottom up.
Okay.
And I would say it was a different it was a different approach, but I learned it from my counterparts being in the industry. I learned it because in some rooms I was not a threat. So they spoke freely around me.
Gotcha.
And I was able to collect information. I was able to process how they analyzed things, how they moved and operated differently. But also too, because they sometimes didn't value or did not see the significance in how I operated, what happened was I was able to come up with strategies that they maybe didn't think about, which allowed me to have staying power.
You better go ahead and wow them. I love that.
And so that's been what's been the biggest benefit for me. When I named the company Elite, it was intentional for me. I always wanted, when you said our name, for an expectation to be given to you.
Come on, excellence with Karen.
That's right. That's right. And I wanted you to know, oh, we're getting an elite team. I wanted that to mean something.
Yes.
I wanted our name, when you see our name on a project, I want you to know that I'm going to get the best service that's available.
Yes.
Because the people on the other side are going to do everything in their human possibility to make it happen for me.
Yes.
And it's beyond just the paperwork. It's beyond just the getting a pin to you from our products division. What we go through and the customer experience that we try to provide, when you hear it, you should be able to say that's different. That's what sets us apart. And we don't always get it right. I know I don't profess to do that. There's definitely the opposite side of that, right? That could definitely be there. But for me, when we started out, I wanted the princess touch. I won't even say the woman's touch. I wanted the princess touch on everything that we did. And I believe that has been the differentiator between us and why we've had the staying power from other counterparts who may have started and fizzled out along the way.
Okay. Now, if I talk to you 3 years from now, 5 years from now, where will Elite be?
So,
or where are you hoping Elite will be?
Yeah. So we'll speak it into existence,
okay,
right?
Come on, let's do it.
So I will hope for our services division that we will be further engaged in our communities, providing solutions, providing people-focused solutions, and supporting the government in those efforts. And so I want to not only do that at the local level, and when I say local, I'm not just talking about here, but Elite operates in multiple states, and we are a part of the community in multiple states. And so I want that to continue to expand. Elite, right now, we touch 5 states. I would like to have us represented in all 50 states.
Okay.
Why not?
Come on, we speaking it into existence. Yes, ma'am.
Our products division, I want, when you say My Elite Products, it be in the same vein when you say Amazon.
Okay.
I want people, that same confidence that people have when, let me check Amazon, let me do this. I want them to have that with My Elite Products.
And so just to be clear, Elite Products sells pens and cups and...
Absolutely. So we're an office supply and consumables based company. We also have equipment, and we sell everything that you can get at a general use office supply and equipment store. You can find it on our website. We offer the same 1 to 2 day shipping turnaround, and it really came as it branched off of our core from emergency management. What happens before an event happens? A storm comes, people run to the store and they're getting supplies. Yeah. What happens after an event? People run and get supplies. Yeah. And so we wanted to be a one-stop solution for not only the public but for our government customers. Yeah. And so that's we offer over, on our products division, we offer over 200,000 products that are available to you. We offer 1 to 2 day shipping nationwide. We have over 54 distribution centers and warehouses throughout the country where we hold product. And we have a full automated solution. So you can go to our website and you have the same customer experience you would have on any big box store, but as a small business and small business, small business touch and feel.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, you talked about automation. AI is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the future. Any thoughts, or is Elite considering the impacts that artificial intelligence will play on your business model?
Absolutely. We're leaning into it.
Okay.
We're leaning into it. One, not just on the services side, we look at how can we better support our customer through whether it's automation, whether it's decision making, right, and the gathering of information from multiple sources. Whether it's as a service provider and it's being able to manage resources and inventory and people and service offerings. How do we pull AI into that to be a better help in the decision-making process? How do we cut down on the time where it allows, I would say, government entities and us on the private side to make more informed decisions faster?
Gotcha.
And so we're leaning into that. We're doing a lot of cool things that we're rolling out to our customers on the government side this year. And on the product and services side, we are consistent. A lot of what we did was already automated. And so we're now saying, okay, using AI, what are our customers purchasing? What brands do they really like? Or is it not necessarily a tie to a brand, but a certain type of product? And AI has been able to help us really decipher through that. And we're also doing some really cool things with strategic partners, right? That are heavy hitters in the product industry that I think will allow us to get to the brand recognition and having the brand staying power as our counterpart. And so there's more to come. Keep in touch with us this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me 3 characteristics that got you where you are today.
Oh, God. I mean, I don't know, but no, I would say resiliency. There's so many no's that you'll get as an entrepreneur, right? There's so many, you can't do that, you can't do it this way. I always said, I can have 100 no's, all I need is 1 yes.
Yes.
I just need the right yes. And I've been fortunate enough that I've been able to deploy strategies that allowed me to sustain until I got that right yes. Relationship. I tell the story about one of the pivotal times in my business that really kind of allowed me to take the turn was I had purchase orders coming in. And I'd won the state term contract in Florida for office supplies and consumables, and we were one of the only suppliers that supply chains weren't disrupted during COVID. And I had this huge purchase order come in, and it was through a relationship. A gentleman I met one time over lunch. We was introduced by a mutual friend, and we chatted. A year later, I had this purchase order, and I'm like, how am I going to fund it? Because it was one of the largest orders I had received, single orders I had received to date. And it dropped on my mind. I called him, and by the end, this man had put out $15 million in cash on my behalf.
Wow.
$15 million.
Relationships matter.
Relationships. I feel like people realizing that you're a person of integrity, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. They see your business and they see the foundation of it. Not every company is going to start off and you're going to hit the ground running and be super successful. Right. It takes a lot of work. Yeah. But if you have the bones there and your bones look good and they can see, I think people could see that about me and they were willing to bet on me. And I was intentional about when people did bet on me. I wanted to make sure that they knew it was a solid bet. Yes. And so because of that changed the trajectory of my business. And then from there, I would say having a good team.
Yeah.
People, relation. I could not do what I do today if it was not for the team that I had behind me. If it wasn't for those individuals who bought into the vision.
Yeah.
And I've always said, for my team and my staff, I want the people that are called to me. I don't want to hire and have people a part of my organization just to be a part.
Right.
I want people called to me. And the reason why is because when we're in the trenches, I'm going to get on your nerves. And you're going to get on mine.
Right.
We may not like each other some
Yes,
days, but
yes.
if you're tied to the mission, if you're tied to the vision and the why we do what we do, if when you are frustrated, overworked, and life is happening and things are stressful, you go back and you remember the elderly gentleman who lost everything, and you're saying, I'm selling this paper so that we can continue on the services side to be a value added to that individual.
Love it.
If you remember that we're selling this paper now and we're doing it so that in times where resources are not being directed into our communities, I have a valuable partner that's going to make sure I get what I need. Then that right there makes it all worth it. So if I can keep you tied to the mission and to the vision, then we continue to operate at a high level. And so my people that I've been fortunate enough to work with and who support me and I support, because I say leaders work for their people. People think it's the other way around. It's not. It's not at all. But it's because of that I've been able to make it to where I am today.
Nice. And my final question is, what is your greater work, which would be the equivalent to your superpower?
My superpower would be, I can see what your superpower is. And I'm comfortable enough in who I am and in mine to let yours shine, even within my organization.
Beautiful. You are a woman after my own heart. Well, I am so happy for you, so proud of you for all that you're doing, and so glad that you took some time to talk with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. My pleasure. And thank you all for joining us on Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversation.
Manly Manor, an executive suite nestled in Tallahassee's J. Gaither Park, offers a 4-bedroom house with a chef's kitchen and luxurious amenities. It's close to FAMU, FSU, the airport, and the historic J. Gaither Golf Course. Your home, away from home. Book today at manlymanor.com.